You've just opened a 12-page research paper, big words, dense paragraphs, confusing graphs. Where do you even begin? It can feel like you've stumbled into a secret society where everyone's speaking a language you don't understand. But here's the thing, you don't need a secret handshake to decipher research. What you need is a strategy. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to break down the anatomy of a research paper and give you a step-by-step system for tackling even the most intimidating studies. This is about equipping you with the tools to not just read, but truly understand and leverage the wealth of knowledge packed into these papers. So let's dive in. Before we launch into how to read a research paper, let's take a second to understand what it actually is. Because here's the thing, it's not a textbook, it's not a novel, it's not even a particularly long-form blog post. A research paper is a focused report of one specific study. Think of it like a scientific detective story. There's a mystery, the research problem, clues, the methods used, and a big reveal at the end, the results. And just like any good detective story, it's got to be clear, concise, and convincing. Now, these papers are primarily written by researchers for other researchers. It's their way of sharing knowledge, advancing science, and hopefully making the world a slightly better place. But that doesn't mean the rest of us can't understand them. Instead of reading a research paper like a story from beginning to end, we're going to approach it strategically. Because let's be real, ain't nobody got time to read every single word. Okay, so you might be thinking, John, why should I even bother? Can't I just get the gist from a news article or a summary? And you know what? Sometimes that's fine. But here's the thing, not all information is created equal. Think about it like this. Would you trust a friend's summary of a movie more than your own experience of watching it? Probably not, especially if that friend has a habit of spoiling the ending or exaggerating the plot. Reading a research paper properly allows you to cut through the noise and get to the source. It helps you identify quality research, spot flaws or bias, and build on existing knowledge for your own work. So, whether you're a student trying to ace a paper, an academic pushing the boundaries of knowledge, or just someone who wants to be a more informed citizen, learning to read research is a worthwhile investment. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why most people give up on research papers before they even get started. The problem is we treat them like regular books, reading line by line from beginning to end. And let me tell you, that's a recipe for frustration. Imagine trying to eat a whole pizza in one bite. That's what it's like trying to digest a dense research paper in one go. You're going to end up overwhelmed and probably a little nauseous. Experts, on the other hand, don't read research papers this way. They don't even read them in order. They approach them in layers, strategically extracting the most important information without getting bogged down in the details. Think of it like panning for gold, and that's exactly what we're going to learn how to do. Chapter 4, Step 1. Start with the abstract, your research appetizer. The first stop on our research paper adventure is the abstract. Think of it like the menu outside a restaurant. It gives you a quick overview of what to expect without overwhelming you with details. The abstract is that one-paragraph summary usually found at the beginning of the paper. It tells you what the paper is about, what methods the researchers used, what they found, and why it matters. It's your research appetizer giving you a taste of what's to come. Let's say you're researching the impact of educational technology. You come across a paper with an abstract that reads, "This study found that AI-based tutoring improved math scores by 15% in low-income schools." Boom! You immediately know this paper is relevant to your research and worth a closer look. And that's the beauty of the abstract. It lets you quickly decide if a paper is worth your time. Chapter 5. Step 2. Jump to the conclusion, skip to the good part. Okay, this might seem counterintuitive, but after the abstract, we're going to jump straight to the conclusion. I know, your English teacher told you never to do that, but trust me on this one. The conclusion is where the authors summarize their findings and answer the research question. It's like skipping to the last page of a mystery novel to find out who did it. You're not looking for every detail, just the big reveal. Chapter 6. Step 3. Read the introduction, setting the stage. Now that you've got a taste of the research and know how it ends, or at least how the authors interpret the ending, it's time to go back to the beginning and read the introduction. Think of the introduction as the setup for the research. This is where the authors set the stage, introduce the problem they're trying to solve, and explain why their research matters. The introduction is also where you'll usually find the research question and hypothesis. The research question is the big, overarching question the study is trying to answer. The hypothesis is a specific, testable prediction about what the researchers think they'll find. Chapter 7. Step 4. Skim the visuals and headings, the scenic route. Before we dive into the nitty-gritty of the methods section, let's take a scenic route through the paper. This is where we skim the figures, tables, and section headings. Think of this as looking at a map before you set out on a journey. It helps you orient yourself and understand the lay of the land. As you skim, ask yourself, what's being measured? What comparisons are being made? Are the visuals easy to understand or are they misleading? Chapter 8. Step 5. Read the methods, only if you must. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the dreaded methods section. Just kidding. The methods section doesn't have to be scary. In fact, you might not even need to read it in detail. Only deep dive into the methods section if you need to replicate the study, if you're doing a thorough literature review, or if you want to verify how solid the research design is. When reading the methods, pay attention to the sample size, the tools used, how the researchers controlled for bias, and the statistical techniques they employed. Outrow, you've got this! Congratulations! You've just learned how to dissect a research paper like a pro. And hey, remember how overwhelming that first page felt just a few minutes ago? Look at you now! Reading research papers is a skill, not a superpower. The more you do it, the faster and sharper you become. So don't be discouraged if the first few feel like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Start with the abstracts, layer in more as you get comfortable, and celebrate your progress. You're reading to understand, to question, and to innovate. Now go forth and conquer those research papers.